Hello there, my dear loving souls. Welcome to this channel, welcome to this office where we talk about universal laws and practicing love. Now, the topic today is going to be all about that emotional desert and how do we navigate a situation where we might be experiencing an emotional desert. And this topic is all led by Spirit. Now, about a week or 2 weeks ago now, I can't recall, I think I did one of these where I was struggling to find some kind of inspiration for a subject matter to do on the day, and I was completely decided to be led by the Spirit on that topic, and I will link it down below for you in case you want to check that out. But hey, I thought, hey, why not incorporate that into my, weekly or fortnightly or whatever video series on the subject that the Spirit wants me to talk about. There must be topics out there that the collective simply needs to hear about. So I'm just going to be led by Spirit. So there's no particular script. I'm just going off with just my messages, intuition, my thoughts on the subject matter of a pre-shuffled card of an emotional desert from the Energy and Oracle deck number 11. And so let's just jump straight into it. But as always, part 1 will be about the facts and the universal laws. Part 2 will be some practical tips of applying the universal laws, as well as the practicing love, so the Holy Trinity of Love, or thinking love, speaking love, and doing love. And part 3 will be some more messages from the spirit world, using some other decks and whatnot on my desk here today. So if we jump into part 1, more about the facts and the universal laws. So given the fact that this, emotional desert card came out, and just for your benefit, it's very much a desert, beautiful desert, a lot of sunlight, lots of sunlight, and to the right here of the card, we've got a little oasis, a bit of a small body of water with greenery, bushes, palm trees, and just lots of sparkles, and sort of looks quite magical. And a couple of words that are written down at the bottom here are inactivity and isolation. So the whole subject matter today will be about feeling emotional desert. And so if we read the message from the guidebook, it's a card that signifies a time of inactivity or isolation. You may have been feeling unproductive or uninspired in an emotional desert, longing for real purpose and connections. In spite of that longing, you just don't seem to have the energy to reach out and make things happen. Still, this is not a card of doom and gloom. Even if you seem to have lost your energy, your enthusiasm, or your connections, take heart. Look to the future, the right of the card, and you can see a beautiful oasis with lush trees and nurturing water. The message is clear. You still have the power to connect, produce, and create great value in your life. You may have to make some plans and put forth some effort, but you can finally break through this low vibration and choose to generate a powerful momentum of joy now. And the affirmation is, and I think this is relevant to you if you feel like you are suffering, through this kind of emotional desert period of time in your life at the moment, where you might be feeling like you've lost your energy and your enthusiasm or connections. And so here's affirmation that you can kickstart your wonderful journey towards that beautiful oasis. I am a vital force in the universe. I have the power to create great value in my life and in the world. That is just gorgeous. And it's number 11, so some of you, that might be a confirmation, or it might actually resonate with you. 11 resonates with me for a variety of reasons, to do with my birthday. I also think it's like a muster number, so perhaps mustering your emotions, or a lesson or a challenge that can be learned from this experience of going through an emotional desert is to actually figure out to acknowledge it, understand that that's what you're experiencing, and then taking some steps to actually figure out how can you move towards a position where you are feeling the oasis, where you are flourishing, where you are abundant, you are lively, you are happy, you are fulfilled emotionally. So maybe there is an element of mastering that emotional desert situation in your lifetime. And now, if we were to jump in straight into the 3 cards that are also pre-shuffled, perhaps, I've been asking for the messages from the Spirit for the 3 cards to actually reveal something about universal laws. And what we've got here is one major arcana, which is the Star card. It's number 17 in the tarot deck. And the star is beautiful. It's all about, shining bright in the night sky. It's hopes, it's dreams, it's your wishful wishes coming into fruition. And we've got a lady here stepping into the waters, one foot in the water, which is usually a representation of water. The other foot is actually on the ground, and I like the similarity. There is some similarities between these 2 cards of having, water on one side and then the ground on the other side. And she's kind of delving into the pool of water, but she's also standing on the ground at the same time, feeling the both worlds. And as for me, I think this is an interesting message, and I'm getting in terms of the universal laws. It's about having, don't hesitate to dream, to make hopes, to have wishes, because maybe there is a breakthrough there that you need to coming out from like an emotional desert situation. Sometimes you need to have like that goal or that dream, some kind of visualization that may help you then move towards or take a certain step towards that wish or that dream or that goal in order to get yourself out of an emotional desert. But yeah, the universal law that comes through quite strongly is we all have missions, we all have dreams, we all have goals, we have all these lessons that we want to learn. So that's probably the universal law that I want to stick for the card, this tarot card that popped up, which is the star. Now, the second universal law, and the card that came up for this one, is the King of Swords. So it's a royalty card, court card. Swords are all about the intelligence, the brain, the mental aspect, the air, communication as well. So he's a king. He looks straight you in the eye. He'll tell you what it is. He's not afraid to use his sword. And for a lot of time, this kind of signifies to me a card of actual mental clarity. And so in conjunction with this topic, and something that was written here, which is all about, you have this longing, but you just don't seem to have the energy to reach out to make things happen. Well, perhaps what you need is a little bit of mental clarity in order to take that step, in order to, make the action, in order to put in the work, in order to make that conscious step and, exercise your freedom of choice to know what the best next thing is in order to get you from a situation of an emotional desert and, get up and literally take the first baby step towards that emotional oasis. You need that mental clarity. And clarity, so from a universal law perspective, just sitting back, being mindful sometimes, pausing for a moment and figuring out, the plan or the strategy, having that mental clarity that will take you from one place to the next. That's something that's coming through. And I guess, the universal law, well, there's a lot of part to our physical body, and we talk a lot about that on the channel. The physical body is effectively a vehicle, it's a technology, it's a very sophisticated piece of technology that allows our spirits to experience the world when we are here in the time frame on planet Earth. And obviously the mind that captures our intelligence, the thinking, the planning and whatnot is a big part of that. Alrighty, and the third universal law, the third card that came out is this 8 of Pentacles. So Pentacles are a very earthly element or representation. It's all about Earth, material things, 3D, planet Earth things. It's work, it's working hard. So this is a number 8, and for me, there's a man here literally with a hammer working on his project, whatever it might be, and he's kind of repeating and continuing to work and working hard and kind of bringing in his own abundance and bringing in his own success. And that's what's interesting for me, is that I do wonder this card may have come through, because in a situation when you're feeling emotional desert, you don't have the energy to kind of take the steps. But the truth is, if you're in a desert, this beautiful oasis of water and plants and trees isn't just going to come to you. You have to put in the hard work, or you have to take the steps, or make take the freedom of choice to take the step, i.e. an action. Have to take an action in order to move yourself out from the desert, wherever you're at, into the waters, into the oasis, into the paradise, into the joy and happiness and love. And yes, that will take some work. And this is actually really interesting, because the universal law that came up to mind is the one I'm talking about a lot, about being versus doing. That both are just as important. We come to this planet in order to be joyful, feel alive, be happy, feel those high frequency emotions and feelings, be inspired. Obviously there's a lot of missions and lessons that we have to overcome or to experience, and we have predetermined what those are, or chosen what those are, before we even incarnated into this lifetime. And I do wonder if this season of life where you're experiencing the emotional desert could be somehow connected to that challenge or obstacle that you may have actually chosen for yourself. And to overcome that challenge will actually lie in the being part, so you're not feeling the greatest, you're not feeling inspired or encouraged. So you're experiencing emotional desert. But the answer, the key to the breakthrough, to overcome the lesson of the obstacle, might be in the doing part. So it's doing something in order to overcome the emotional desert, in order to get up, get yourself up, and start taking those baby steps towards the beautiful oasis that is waiting for you on the other side. Yeah, so here we go. Just once again, just reiterating the star, very much about dreams and hopes and vision, mission, the light at the end of the tunnel. You can sort of picture it. It's a bright star. It's bright in your mind. You can probably visualize that beautiful oasis, whatever that means for you. King of Swords, once again, having that mental clarity, knowing where to go to, where to move to. Action-oriented card, but having the plan, having the strategy, using your intelligence to move forward, using whatever tools in your hand, either the sword or whatever tools, resources, in order to get yourself up and moving. And then obviously Eight of Pentacles, being versus doing, knowing what you feel like, what you are, and then figuring out the plan, the strategy to do, and then actually executing, putting in the hard yards, doing the hard work to overcome the emotional desert situation. I think that's enough for the universal laws part. That's all that's coming at this point in time. Click on part 2, my dear loving souls, and we'll talk about the application of these universal laws and the practice of love in the context of this topic, wonderful topic on the emotional desert. So click on the link below and let's go into part 2 together. See you shortly.